welcome, Mike, to Metalated Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about, I don't know how do you pronounce Toehider, I think. Toehider, this new album, and more things related to the, well, I have been hearing this new album, a lot of things into the progressive metal world. So starting with a common question, how have you been during these crazy times? Because we started a pandemic 2 years ago. Now, a curious thing, we start a war in Europe. So no, so the crazy times are in. So perhaps who knows what happened next couple of years? So the apocalypse, the machine takes the power. It's very crazy world.
Absolutely, it's been nothing short of terrifying in some way. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of discussion about how the pandemic and all of the lockdowns and so forth have influenced the creative process for artists and musicians in particular. And for me personally, it was really, really bad. I didn't feel inspired to write or practice or do much of anything at all. So there's a bit of a dead spot there in my productivity, unfortunately. So, but you know, things are better now. Obviously, we can actually go outside and talk to other people, talk to other humans in face to face and stuff. So I was yeah, I'm happy that we got through it. Okay.
Okay. Well, you are releasing a new album this year. So the name of the album is I Have a Little to No More Memory of These Memories. Well, it's an extensive name. So why did you decide to put that kind of name in an album?
I think, well, the album I did before this one was called I Like It, and the album before that one was just called Good. So I thought maybe do something a little bit different and give the album a long title, just to, you know, just to have fun more than anything.
Okay. Well, I've been hearing this album for a few times, and I've been hearing a lot of music into there. You have metal, rock, progressive, but a lot of music into there. So how was the composition process for this new album? What kind of band do you take to bring these new sounds? Because I tried to compare the previous one to this one, and this new one has more sounds involved, has a lot of complex techniques. So how do you keep in touch with these new techniques? Do you keep practicing? Do you have more ability? So who knows?
Well, yeah, I think I really allowed myself to embrace all of the influences that I've accumulated over the years with this one in particular, all of those more progressive sounds and progressive bands from the 70s and 80s and 90s and even sort of the last 20 years or so as well. I wanted it to be sort of a celebration of all of these different sounds and styles over the years. So yeah, I think having that freedom, I guess, working within the realm of progressive rock or progressive metal or whatever you'd like to call it, it's nice because you can really do whatever you want, and the trick is to try and get it to work seamlessly from one section to the next. I think that did take some time to work out, but I'm always up for that challenge. It's something that I enjoy figuring out. Yeah.
Okay. Other aspect is other aspect. If we try to relate this, I have little to no memory of these memories. We bring back to when there's no pandemic. Do you think this album will be the same way that you did?
What was the question? Sorry.
So if this new album wasn't composed during this pandemic, do you think this new album has a lot of schemes, a lot of rhymes, a lot of different things into there? It knows the pandemic, because the pandemic has a lot to do with more details into there. You have more time, a lot of bands.
Oh yeah, see, I actually think the opposite. I think during those times that we're in lockdowns with the pandemic, I felt a lot less motivated to work, and I feel like I didn't really get much work done actually in in that time. So most of the album was done before the pandemic and after. Well, it's weird to say after the pandemic because I think it was still obviously happening, but before the lockdowns and after the lockdowns was when I did most of the work on this one.
Okay. And what is the biggest strength that this album has compared to the past for you?
What are the strengths, did you say?
Yes, the strengths, yes.
I think with some of my older albums, I've always loved to diversify. I've always loved to try out different sounds and different textures and different moods, different genres. But maybe in the past, I haven't been able to get the seamlessness, the ability to move from one style to the next in a natural way. But I think with this new album, I have done that. I think it moves through all of the different flavors and different sounds in a much more natural way than I have in the past.
Okay. And what are you put a lot of cartoons into your cover art? That's a curious thing that I want to know because the previous one I like it was a rooster there, and now you are well, you're like a spaceship or like boat spaceship. So what do you have to do this kind of things with your cover art?
Well, all of the artwork is done by a man named Andrew Saltmarsh, and he's brilliant at coming up with fun little characters and little scenarios, and yeah, I think it's just part of what we do. I think it's quite cartoon. Sort of Toehider kind of lives within a cartoon in a way. We just love I also think that with progressive music, it tends to get quite serious and quite bogged down and not a lot of fun involved. So I think with what we try to do is inject a little bit more fun and humor and things like that into what we do.
Okay. Okay. And do you, perhaps for this new album, perhaps do you want to use for the next album or for like the main character, the rooster, because the rooster is a very funny character for Toehider. Perhaps do you think to use in your signature? Who knows?
I would love to bring the rooster back. Yeah, I think it's a very strong,
Yeah.
a strong character, and I think that rooster wasn't really related to any songs on that album, so it'd be fun to write some songs based on the rooster. It'd be cool.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're talking about from Disney album. What are the future plans that the band has for this new album? Perhaps gigs, tours, videos upcoming, or who knows? And then in the coming future, a Latin American tour.
That would be amazing. Yeah. So I've been speaking to the guys in the band about the logistics behind playing some of this music live. It's always a bit of a challenge because when I write music, I don't think about whether we can play it live or not. I just really allow myself to create in a very freeing scenario. So there's a lot of vocal layers, a lot of synthesizers, a lot of guitar parts. So yeah, that's something that we've been thinking about, how to perform this album live. But we'd love to tour. We're an Australian act, so it's quite challenging to get to the rest of the world because we're so far away. But it would be a lot of fun and to play in as many countries that would have us.
Okay. So now, how is the situation now with this? When I saw that Australia has a blocked a lot of festivals into there. So how is now the music industry now now far away from this pandemic now, returning to the festivals, concerts, etc. in Australia?
I think it's slowly starting to come back now. There's all of the bigger international acts coming back to Australia, but playing shows here, and the Australian festivals are starting to happen. I think still, unfortunately, a lot of events are getting shut down, and because of people getting sick and all of those sorts of things. So, but I think very slowly the live music scene here in Australia is starting to come back to life, which is good.
Okay, okay. I've been reading your post in your Facebook, and you have your 5 or 10 concept albums into the progressive world. Well, and a lot of
Oh yeah.
other styles. So, what do you take these albums? What are the specials for these ones for you, especially compared from the first from music from the Elder, from Kiss, to the Jethro Tull, from Chick and Brick? For you, what is the special thing that you see into these concept albums?
I think I love the idea of sitting down and listening to an album and really immersing yourself into the story. I love the idea of a narrative thread running through the duration of an album. I've always been fascinated by that. Even when I was a kid, I remember hearing something like "The Wall" from Pink Floyd and learning about how there was a story. You know, there was a narrative throughout the whole thing. And I've always wanted to do it. This is the first concept album that I've written, and yeah, I just very fascinated by the idea of concept albums. I think they're great.
Okay, okay. So talking about the music from this album, and inspirations. So perhaps in the future you will have more. So how do you define the progressive music? Because with this new album, it's very difficult to see if it's a progressive because you have a lot of experimental sounds into there. You have a lot of things. It's very difficult to label. But when reviewers hearing your music, said it's progressive music. But for you, perhaps you have a different kind of label your music.
I think progressive rock or progressive metal. I think maybe progressive rock more in my case, because I think that's really the only label where it covers a lot of different sounds and a lot of different flavors and moods. Because when I think of all of the big progressive bands like Jethro Tull and Yes and Genesis and even Dream Theater and Marillion, all of these bands are all progressive rock bands, but they all sound very different from one another, I think. So I think the progressive rock label fits what I do uh, because it really just is a license to do whatever I want, whatever I feel. So it works for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. So we are living now in a world that the music the people prefers to hear the music with 1, 2 singles. It's mad, and
Mm.
they love to do the playlist around these aspects. So for you, if we try to well, the song, the album is if it correct me if am I wrong because I just see 2 songs in this new album. So it's
Mm.
and the album has 47 minutes of duration. So 2 songs for 40 minutes. So if we try to relate these aspects, and the science says that the first 15 seconds are showing the best parts of the song to engage the people to hear the more music of that artist. So what do you think about to do a song, a very large song, when a people prefer a small songs to catchy?
Absolutely. I think it's quite a it's quite a risk, I think, in this current musical climate where uh, artists and musicians are really going down the what they're calling micro content, I suppose, with smaller and smaller snippets um, of music and of videos and things like that. But I love that all the old 70s albums, you know, Tubular Bells and Thick as a Brick and all of these things where it's just one big long piece of music. And I think some people will still enjoy doing that. I think for me, I love to sit down and listen to a whole album. And it's a fun thing. It's very uh, it's very special. for me to sit down and read the lyrics along with listen to the music and read the lyrics, and it's an experience for me. And so I hope that I can recreate that same experience for other people with what I'm doing. But it's true. I will confuse a lot of people because they're used to hearing smaller, shorter songs, which is fine. But I think there's some people out there who really appreciate the long songs as well. So I think that's the reason why I did it, and plus because it's one big long story, so it made sense for it to be almost like the same length of watching a TV episode or something, TV show, one episode of a TV show, something like that, or a short film. It's about the same length. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what people think.
Well. Now, so what do you have time to hear new music these days? New bands, new albums. Perhaps do you want some to recommend to your fans or here in Latin America?
I try to. The problem is, I think there's people send me so many things, and it's hard to keep up and keep track of what's happening. But at the moment, let's see, what am I listening to? There's a band from Perth here in Australia called Voyager, which I think are doing some amazing work. I love their music. What else? I mean, obviously everybody knows the band Mastodon, which I really enjoy their new album, which I think was released maybe last year or this year. I can't remember. They're the two that kind of spring to my mind at the moment. Yeah, but obviously it gets harder and harder because there's so much music and it's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah, it's a lot of music. And for you, you said that we are living in a crazy world with a lot of productions in common with the digital platforms, a lot of bands releasing albums, EPs, singles, videos. It's a lot. So for you, what is special for you Toehider has compared to this craziness world to a lot of productions?
What does Toehider bring to it? I think there's an element of fun and humor to what we do, which I think is a little bit not very common in the prog and progressive thing. I think the project is unique in the way we create things because it's myself and Andrew Saltmarsh who does all of the artwork. We bounce ideas back and forward between each other. So we're visual artist and sound artist combined, which is quite unique as well. So I think those are the main things that we have that's a bit more special and a bit more unique.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Mike, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one as I did, and thank you very much for this opportunity to talk with you. Perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metalerium followers?
Say that one more time. Sorry,
perhaps do you want to add? Okay, perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metalerium followers?
Sure. Well, just thank you very much for the support and keep rocking and stay safe. And hopefully we can get over there and play some shows and party with you guys. Because I've obviously I've always heard that Latin America is very, very passionate about music, and particularly on the heavier side of things, it's got a reputation for being, very music is a very special part of your culture, which is a beautiful thing. So hopefully one day.